Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Paradigm Shift. Today, the webinar for the evening is the Inner Child Healing, and our mentor for today is Namita Shetty. Just before I introduce her, I would like to quickly run a very short slide about our company, about what we are, who we are, what we do. I'm so happy to see all the Google forms when all of you wrote that when we asked that do you follow our page, and all of you said we'll follow it right away. That was very heartening. Thank you so much. Okay, so we are the Paradigm Shift. We're a growing community of thinkers, learners, and doers. And our core mission is to get you connected to the right people, to the right stories, to inspire us all to promote a better you. Next slide, please. Our services, if you browse through all our social media platforms, be it YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or Twitter, you will see that there's so much goodness, there's so much kindness, generosity, compassion out there. And we bring you some of these inspirational stories and of these incredible superhumans who do what they don't really have to do. So have a look whenever you have the time. You can absolutely go browse through our talks. They're very beautiful stories right there. Our services are basically, Tash, can we do the, yeah, okay. Our services are basically provide consultations. If you go on our website, we have our mentors, and any of you who would want to, have consultations, you can go and sign up over there. We have, we promote social institutions, all the NGOs and all these things. We aggregate inspiring stories, and we curate in events and webinars. So like I just said, that if you go to our website, theparadigmshift.co, why I keep stressing on co is because there are a whole lot of other The Paradigm Shifts. So if you go to theparadigmshift.co, you will see all our mentors. There's music therapy, art therapy, cosmic pride, all about sleep, cancer, Ayurveda, yoga, and life coaching. You can sign up with any of these mentors, and they'll be able to help you one-on-one. Let's give back together. So during our talks, we came across a lot of genuine social institutions, NGOs, and incredible people that we put on our platform, and you can donate directly to them. We have their banking details on our website, so you won't be donating to us, you will be donating right to the foundations that are listed on our website. Okay, so coming to the mentor for the evening, Namita Shetty. She has 19 years of experience. She's a psychologist, a regression therapist, a family constellation facilitator. She does life between lives therapy, and she's an inner child therapist. So today we are going to see what she's going to teach us about inner child therapy. Over to you, Namita. Tasha, can we put her in the spotlight, please?
Thank you so much for that kind introduction, and so I will not take much of the time on this. So yeah, the topic is inner child, one of my favorites, because I think we love children, but this time we are talking about our children, the child within us. And thank you, Deepshikha, for this opportunity, because I love talking about inner child. It's something that I keep randomly also speaking. So giving me this platform to reach out to maximum people where this work can actually benefit for self-development, which is so important. In times of these crises where we are not in touch with what's happening within us, and there's so much chaos that's happening outside. I'm truly, truly grateful for that opportunity from you. And so let's talk about inner child and what does the word inner child mean. Now, the word itself is self-explanatory. It's inner the child within me. But what is this child within me? It is happy sometimes. It is sad. It is in grief. It's joyful. It's just like how I was when I was like a toddler. Some of us may have children of seen toddlers. That's how I was some years back. So free, full of life, no inhibitions. All I had to offer was love, and all I had to offer was life. And then something happened. Something bad happened. And then I withdrew. I became scared. I was hiding myself. I curled up, or maybe sometimes just frozen, like in a state of shock. So when I look at inner child therapy, I look at these children within us. When a trauma happens, when a situation happens, a child fragments just like a piece of glass. When it falls, it breaks into multiple pieces, and each piece is that child. And it takes years sometimes as we grow adult to build ourselves again. And sometimes some people do not have that opportunity. They live broken. We have inner child work today to even identify that there is so much brokenness in us. और वो statement होता है ना, चलती है life, ऐसे ही होता है life में. And we continue with our brokenness, still hoping someday that somebody gives us a shoulder to rest on till we rebuild ourselves. So when inner child therapy, when we say, we are looking and focusing on those parts of us that are wounded, that are hurt, that are in pain. Those parts of us that nobody's ever asked कि तुम्हारे साथ क्या हुआ? What happened to you? Are you okay? खाना खाया? Did you sleep? Right? And those are inner children. Those are inner me yearning for love. And how do they create problem for us? They exactly don't create problem. They're looking for love. But the problem is we keep telling them आज नहीं कल. We'll give tomorrow pakka. Or that man will give me. Or that job will give me. That bank balance will give me. We'll be happy someday. And it's like that illusionary journey I continue in search of happiness. Still breaking pieces of me. When I'm looking at inner child, I'm looking at a broken individual who's searching for love in relationships, in a career, in spirituality also. Maybe someday God will make me whole again. Because I don't see any hope that my life will become better. And then I become angry. Because now, after all that has happened to me, I have to survive on my own. And now I'm angry also. Because why did it happen to me? I was so young. I was so small. So as an adult, when we grow up with these events as childhood, problems, and these are not problems of a war. It could be simple that my brother got an extra lollipop, or my mother paid attention to my brother more. He's a boy, so he got everything. They didn't want a girl. My mother lost her first child, so she was too grieving to pay attention to me. My parents separated, and they were still deciding who I should be with. And my childhood just passed away in their decisions. My mother was a single mother. My father was not there. My father was single-handedly managing me. How do these things impact us in our growth is where we will be able to understand our inner landscape. And why is it important to understand our inner landscape? Because when you look at yourself today as an adult, in any area of your life, look back and see which area are you struggling with. Career, relationship, finances, adventure, risk-taking attitude. Where are you still hesitating? डर कहाँ लगता है? These areas will tell us that there is a part of us that's not fully grown emotionally. And that's why we call it inner child. Inner child is those parts of us that emotionally fragmented in childhood because something happened and we couldn't recover to grow out of it emotionally. Some may question me, but we have still survived. We are doing good in life. अच्छा कमा रहे हैं, बच्चे हैं, family है. Ask yourself, do you still feel full inside? खाली लग रहा है अंदर? Do you feel empty sometimes? Do you miss something, as if something is missing? As if everything is there, everything looks right, but it still feels as if something is missing. Do you cry unexpectedly when you're alone? Or when you see a program or a TV where children are playing or a mother is separated from a child, do you really grieve? And if your heart grieves that, there are unspoken stories of your own childhood that need to be heard. And heard by whom? By our own selves. No Prince Charming is going to come here and do that for us. Not even for the men. No Nightingale is going to come and give her a shoulder and say, oh, my poor prince. We all are there for our own selves. And when we are those healthy individuals, we make a beautiful partnership. So inner child is so important in our relationships also. That when we have completely emotional, healthy people, we make a wonderful relationship. We are not babysitting one partner, or we are not demanding another partner to be a parent, to take our misbehaviors, our shortcomings. Also, we become better parents. How better parents? When we are parents, we are always the thin line. Should I be like my mother or not? She did this. I will not do that. Which is good. You may not want to do that. But the next thing is, what will you do? Do you have another way of dealing with that situation? Are you resourceful enough to say, Acha theek hai, this is how my parents did it. I don't know how will I deal with my child. Because my child is in a different time. But when I do deal with my inner child, with my own inner emotions, I am emotionally agile. I am more tuned into my emotions. That makes me sensitive enough to see them in others, to respect them in others, and also come up with more empathy. Empathy किसी पे तरस खाना नहीं होता है कि हाय बेचारा. That's pity. That's not empathy. Empathy is to say, oh, it must to acknowledge the struggle. It's not to make it easy and take it away, wishing it goes away. It's to see that there is struggle, even if the person is capable. Empathizing to their struggles, their stories. But I cannot do that if I don't know what is the texture of empathy. Today, empathy seems like, oh, it's all about stories, sob stories, and gain that pity, and then we say, ये तो अब victim हो गए हैं. Empathy is empowering actually. As a therapist for so many years, I deal with real people. I have learned a lot of theories. The beauty of my work is that I see my work expressed in people. I see my theories becoming realities when people take the courage to change their life. When we access their emotions, when we talk about abuse, trauma doesn't have to be a car accident. For a child, when a mother leaves the house at 3, not knowing when she will return, is very traumatic, highly traumatic. It impacts the child's nervous system, and the child feels abandoned, scared, and at the brain level, there is a shrinkage. So the physiology gets affected first. Then to cope with the physiology, you accommodate according to the emotions. And then your emotional growth is also stunted. Now with this individual, when he or she grows up, at the age of 19, 20, where the first step of intimacy comes, the first step is peers, and then the intimacy. It will bring up those fears of being intimate, and it's not about sexual, emotional intimacy. Can I rely on this person? Can I trust for a healthy relationship? Why? Because the most sacred relationship had abandoned me at the most vulnerable state of my life, when I was dependent on that individual, my mother or my father. Now that memory is not here. It's here. It's in my heart. I feel that loss every day of my life. I feel that loss. And every time I yearn for that love, I also carry that loss. If they are not separate. Now when I'm in the stage of intimacy, I have love and something that I want. But my love carries the pain of loss. Do you think this individual will jump to get that love? No, in most cases they don't. In psychology, we would call them as avoidant personalities. They keep avoiding. They have commitment phobia. They will evade. They will have multiple relationships or not want to get into deep relationships. Even if they get married, they will be unavailable partners emotionally. If the culture compels them to get married, they will not be emotionally available to the other partner. Not because they're bad people. They're scared people. They're scared of love. People scared of love? Yes. When we do the exercise, you'll recognize how scared we are of love. We can fight battles. We can jump from a terrace. We can do all the stunts. Just to tell the one we truly love that I love you takes immense courage. An emotional courage which very few of us have. For this child to say I love you reminds him the first rejection. The memory is in the body. As a child, I memorize I'm a body person. As a children are sense people. They see, they feel, they hear, they're kinesthetic, they touch. So everything's about what they sense. Right? And now I suddenly sense the absence of my mother. Kuch to khali, they may not recognize that. And I cry, she doesn't come. I don't see her. I don't feel her presence. I see a huge chunk of my life missing. I don't know what it is, but I only feel something missing. And I carry that missingness in me. And every time I want to come closer, it reminds me of loss. So it tells me, oh, what if this goes away? The first time it was bad. We took so much time to learn to deal with it. Do we really want to dive into this again? And so I said, no, it's okay. I will just, be on the surface. It's easier there. Nothing to dive into deep. It looks very chilled out, very super cool and very detached. But under se, inside, it is a person who's deeply wounded. Not every detached person is evolved. Some are just hiding behind that detachment with their pain. You can be detached. There's another way, there's clinginess, where the mother was there, but she was so busy fulfilling her duties that she couldn't see what I was going through. She was emotionally absent. The complaint is my mother never saw me. She never saw me. She never saw I was sad. She never saw what I was going through. She was there. She gave me food, warm clothes, everything was there. But she never saw me. What am I saying here? I was not seen for my pain. I was not even celebrated for my joy. I just existed. And that can also be a trauma. Like every other thing, I just existed. I didn't matter. I wasn't important. I was lost in the crowd. I was not special. And trust me, every child wants to feel special. Even today at this age, nobody can say, I don't want to feel special in the eyes of my loved one. We all want to. We want to be seen special by the people we care for. And we want them to also express that we are important. What binds us and makes us human is our emotions. Wounds us also is our emotions. And inner child is all about handling those emotional woundings that break us. And sometimes because we didn't know, we couldn't repair ourselves. So we lived in that woundedness and we passed on that woundedness from generation to generation. A family where fathers were never included had emotionally unavailable men. Fathers were not taught how to be gentle and play with the girl child. And every girl was wishing that her father ever carried her. We don't know, nobody taught us, nobody educated us, so we kept to ourselves, and that same kept to ourselves was passed down to the boys in the next generation. The women never asked for it, so it always kept. So what I passed on is not always genetically inherited. There's also a behavioral inheritance. We inherit a way of life. When we talk about depression or sadness, it just could be a behavioral thing that is in the system. हमारे घर में औरतें सिर्फ चुप रहती हैं. Men do not show emotions. These are some statements we encourage people to remain in their trauma. So when I say inner child work, it requires lot of courage. Lot of courage to be able to accept it and broken, and then again start from there and say, okay, how do I fix myself? How do I feel safe, brave to ask for love again? And the journey starts for recovery. It's not just आप one session कर लो या understand कर लो तो ये concept समझ में आएगा. Concept भले ही आपको समझ में आएगा, लेकिन हम जिससे डील कर रहे हैं वो छोटा बच्चा है, वो हमारे अंदर है. आप अगर 3 साल के बच्चे से ये पूरी जो मैं अंडरस्टैंडिंग समझा रही हूँ उसको मैं समझाऊंगी तो उसे नहीं समझ में आएगा. He will not understand your stories and your rationality that you were busy in work, that's why you didn't have time. That's how you explained yourself so many years, no, growing up. Ki mama was busy. Mama's mother-in-law was a bad woman, so she did not have time. Daddy was busy earning. Very good. But for a moment, ask yourself, despite all this, did you ever desire them to sit by you and just take their hands on your head? Sit by you and put their shoulders around your hands around your shoulders, or kiss your forehead. Who here doesn't want it? We all want it. Even I today at this age want it. Love is anytime welcome. But did it happen? No. I continued with my explanations. The problem starts appearing when we become little old. 40, 45. Abhi to young generations are also showing symptoms because of the pandemic. But when we are young, distractions are there. So ye problems जो मैं कह रही हूँ may not be even identified because I'm partying, I'm just going, I'm doing a lot of stuff to maintain this super cool image, and I also believe that's wrong. Till 35, 40, when we would call it as midlife crisis, is where life takes a different turn for us. And then suddenly these questions come to, who am I? What am I doing? What is my purpose in life? Right? And then we start going back and picking up pieces. I had a case where this gentleman came at the age of 85. And I'm telling you this because there is no age when you can have a closure. He was 85, his wife was 75. And he came to me and said, "Ma'am, I want a closure with my mom." And I was like, "Your mom?" Technically, I know she's no more. But he said, "I still have a pain again, an angst against her. And I want to close that for me. So I die in peace, loving my mother." That's what he came for therapy, not because it was a problem. He somewhere wanted to make peace with whatever happened with him and his mom. Even if it meant at 85, it's like in the religions, die well. He truly took it to his heart. When he did a session with me, I still feel very overwhelmed when I talk about it. This happened 6 years back. And his mother was a second wife. The mother paid more attention to her stepsons. And this made him feel neglected. The only desire he had is someday he would feed him. मुझे एक निवाला मेरी माँ खिलाती थी, यही मेरी इच्छा थी. And I was angry with her for not doing. I kept that anger for such a long time. So long that she passed away and I'm closer to my death. And when we did the session to the various techniques, he broke down. Broke down for so many years of anger that he was holding on to. To open his heart to say that he was angry with her because he loved her. But it took him such a long time to recognize that. The grief was also about the lost opportunity. And that's when I said, okay, this work needs to go there. So a lot of people do not have that lost opportunity. We make those amends way before our parents are with us. We make those amends within us so our children do not. We have a better harmonious relationship with our own children. It's not always about our parents, but when I am put together, I have the emotional courage to mend with my child. And that closure is about peace, that I can now love my mother. I am not scared that she'll put some other child before me, someone else's child before me. She will put me first because I am her child. And it's our birthright to be able to ask that again. Sometimes in nature it doesn't happen because mothers are hospitalized, calamities happen, a lot of things happen, and unfortunately we cannot be with our mothers. They don't do it on purpose. Then how do we still reconnect to those parts of us that were fragmented, that were hurt, traumatized, and are in an emotional cycle and are unable to step out of it? It's like a constant state of fear. What if people leave me? Or a constant fear, state of sadness. No. Or this constant state of grief or disappointment. But it's like a vicious cycle. I really don't know a way out. When we do inner child, we break that trance. We break that like we are like in a hypnotic trance. We break it, open it, recognize it, that time has changed. Because though I have physically moved ahead in time, I'm emotionally locked in we say time travels. That's exactly what it is. We are still traveling in a time as a 4-year-old, 5-year-old, 16. So every milestone could be a different trauma, because at every milestone, my need for the kind of love is different. When I'm 3 years old, the kind of love I need is more physical, more touch, more hugs, more warmth. When I am beyond 9 to 14, 15, my need is more emotional, to be heard, to be seen, to be acknowledged for my emotions. And beyond that, my need is to be recognized as an individual. At every given point, there could be a trauma that could correlate to us when we step out in the world. Our inability to handle human interactions, social interactions, and fully be able to express our individuality without having the threat of losing ourselves, or the threat of being re-traumatized. But all of it only comes when we have the courage to heal. So inner child is a lot more. I can go on and talking about it, but I would rather let you have some small experience on this. I can go on and go, and all my friends who are here also on the chat know that whenever she gets an opportunity, she can go on talking about it. I'm also trained in Waldorf education, so I kind of see children and I work with them. And I work with adults, I kind of correlate how childhood environment, our upbringing, our environment has an impact. So when I am the environment for the child, this work helps me to be sensitive as the environment of the child, having my inner child work done. And when I'm an adult, going and figuring it out what happened to me as a child that has made me this kind of a person. Where are my limitations, or it has made me handicapped emotionally, is where I need to go and recover myself from there. So we will do a small exercise to experience this, another 15-20 minutes exercise of what it is to feel an inner child, and then from there I will take questions, because theory is like, it's a vast explanation. There are cases I have talked about, and they are really beautiful. They are very interesting. I'll tell you about another case before I close here. Is about a client who came to me having difficulty in her marriage with an intimacy, and this was sexual intimacy, and they were not able to consummate the marriage. With multiple sessions, it came down to a very early childhood of being violated and sexually abused by a neighbor. However, the child was very young, must be 4.5 or 5. The parent dismissed the experience, not on purpose, unconsciously. But that dismissing of the child experience as not being true costed her to suppress her own ability to trust her experience, that this happened to her. After 25 years, she came in with the symptom which expressed itself in another relationship. It was long repressed also, so she didn't have conscious memory. But it expressed itself in the current relationship, and as we count backward, going back to that childhood, it came up. Because the body still had the memory of that disgust and violation. That's how powerful inner child work is. And that's why I recommend to a lot of people to do that, because that really sets us free emotionally with our own physical body, our freedom to be feeling safe in our physical body, in our relationships, and every other area in our life. We have a much stable stand. So if anybody wants to take a loo break, Shika, can I give a 2-minute break and then we start the exercise? Or or I'll continue because it'll take another 15-20 minutes. So since we had talked, I'll take a minute, take a washroom break if you want, and in a minute's time I will start the session, a 15-minute integration.
That was beautiful, Namita.
There's so much I can keep talking on this. This is hard experience. It is truly very hard, trust me. Sounds very fancy to be a therapist here, but when I look at human agony and human behavior and human pain every day, I really sometimes doubt, was it worth being a human? Because the amount of violence that we can cause to our own beings is very painful to know.
Yeah. Sharad, hi. Thank you for introducing me to this wonderful human being that we now have a mentor as the mentor. You'll have to unmute yourself. Yeah.
It's amazing, and I think she's like stuck with me, Namita.
Great.
And I've taken some amazing.
Now she's stuck with me. Now you're out.
She's stuck with us, and I have done some inner child sessions, and I have changed a lot after that, I think. And I think the lockdown was a great time to and I really recommend inner child therapy for everyone. Everyone. Whoever I meet, I'm like, sometimes I come from a sense of judgment कि इसको inner child therapy चाहिए. In a sense, in a funny way.
So अगर मैं बोलूँ भी एक तो very casual level वहाँ से therapy word हटा दो, because हमारे country में ना therapy नाम को भी बहुत taboo है. तो let's say therapy हटा दो. Let's say self introspection. I would keep it that simple. Either you do it on yourself if you're really radically honest with yourself, or you need a therapist to show you the mirror. That's the only difference here. It's a self journey where I recognize the places where I'm avoiding my pain.
Right.
And if I get the grip of it also, it's a self-evolutionary process. I don't see that you need a therapist all the time. The initial sticky bits where it's like acid, you need the acid to clear it. You need a therapist to give you that push. But once the harder stuff is gone, the lighter ones is like I was telling Sharad that it's a self-maintenance. So that is something I also personally recommend. It should be an ongoing process. Like you say, spiritual practice. Inner child is probably one of the most beautiful spiritual practices, because when I say I want to be whole, I need to first acknowledge that I was broken. And the journey of becoming whole is the process when we say spiritually. To gather those self again is the process of becoming whole. So this is most easier, as my teacher would say, it's a psycho-spiritual development. I'm developing myself as a human being, but in that process, I'm recognizing the divinity in me, that I came in whole to experience something. I experienced it so beautifully that it broke me. And I am also learning the process that in this world, I have to rebuild myself. Where I live, it's polarities, anode and cathode. And experience only comes from oppositions. वरना romance का क्या होता भैया? It would be so sad. So yes, we live in a world of oppositions, and once we recognize that for me to become whole, I will have an opposing field. And that is where the suffering comes. It breaks me, I learn something, and I rebuild. So for me personally, more than just a psychological tool, I find this as a very spiritual tool, because it made me more sensitive, more empathetic to every human being, and to recognize that I'm not so much numb to my own pain that I don't even see that the other is in pain. I don't mind sitting and crying together in pain, rather than just living in a world that's full of zombies who do not have a heart for each other. So it's a beautiful process. So everybody ready?
In fact, I just want to share, I'm still the only one, I go on a holiday, and I'm still not trying to escape from everything, I still call Namita. I'm like, ये trigger हो गया है, ये जरा please मेरे को heal कर दो. So I really feel that a kind therapist, a kind also, but not somebody who will also tell
Okay.
you the way it is a
I'm not.
biggest.
I'm not at all aware that kind therapist. I'm probably a little firm at times when it's necessary.
But that firmness comes from kindness. So
But that's all we parents also do. No, when we are kind and when we are firm, we bring up resilient individuals. Parenting is not about mollycoddling our kids. It's about giving them the right upbringing to become citizens. They're not there to please us. We are building up tomorrow's citizen, and I'm telling you as a mother also. So inner child work is not alone about me, but also saying that I am responsible for putting this girl or boy out in this city tomorrow as an individual citizen. If I'm upset with the way my peers are, I know how they've been brought up. I know that the change has to not just happen every time therapy. It has to happen at a behavioral level where therapy probably one day becomes redundant. I would love that idea. I always tell Shara that I said, no, my job is something I would love to be redundant, because then it becomes a natural thing that we give that to each other. One doesn't have to come for therapy to get that. I hope we build that society of sensitivity, tolerance, and acceptance to people's pain, and say, you can take your time till you recover. In olden tribes, we used to do that. Hope we can rebuild that, and I hope the pandemic has also made us realize how much important it is that this touch, this warmth is more important, because the isolation, the quarantine has scared a lot of people. A lot of people have more feared the quarantine, the isolation, than the disease itself. It tells us how important it is about the aspect of humanness, the touch, the warmth, the hug, the smile of the maid or the chaiwala or the watchman or my neighbor. That is so beautiful. So let's go within and see which part of today is willing to come home. So let's talk about one emotion. We'll take about sadness. You can pick up anger, you can pick up grief. One emotion that you would like today to make peace with. I leave it to you. You're adults. And I cannot take individual cases here, so I'll do a meditation, a process where I will make peace with that part of you. So I'll work with sadness. You can then use that word for the emotion that you are. So just sit comfortably, maybe a place where you have a backrest, so that your body can rely till the mind and the heart does the work. Just stay in a posture or a position which is comfortable for your body. Not so comfortable that you may just sleep off after dinner, but a comfortable enough so that you can let go, let down the stressed shoulders, the tightness. And as you keep your eyes open, looking at the wall in front of you and listening to the voice, my voice, in your ears, as this becomes your anchor in this journey, keep watching at that wall and inhaling from your nose and exhaling from your mouth. Keeping your eyes open again, inhaling from your nose and exhaling from your mouth. Once again we do it, inhaling from your nose and exhaling from your mouth. And now getting back to normal breathing. Keep your eyes open, inhaling from your nose and exhaling from your nose. And slowly and steadily, as your eyes get tired, comfortably close them. Gradually moving your attention to the tip of your toes. As you feel a wave of relaxation moving from your toes to your feet, your ankles, and moving up to your calf muscles. As this wave of relaxation is gradually relaxing every nerve and muscle in your feet, slowly this wave of relaxation moves to your knees, your thighs, your lower abdomen, and slowly moving to your stomach. As this relaxation spreads across your stomach area, all the tension is just exhaled. Inhaling clean, clear light. Slowly again, moving up from your stomach, your lower abdomen, rising up to your liver, your pancreas, coming up to your chest, looking at your lungs. And as you take a deep breath, recognizing, realizing you're still alive and able to breathe, just exhale all the tension, worry. And the deeper you are breathing, the more relaxed you are. And the more relaxed you are, the deeper is your breath. Gradually moving up from there, moving to your chest. Your shoulders. Sliding down to your arms and your forearms. Gradually, this relaxation moves up your neck to your cheeks, your ears, chin, eyes, and your forehead. Moving to the back of your head, your body is completely relaxed and in a state of calmness and peace. As you imagine or visualize yourself in a lush green forest, a garden, or a mountain place you've been before. And as you feel your feet on the grass and the bright sun on your face with a cool breeze, keep walking. As you reach the center of this forest, as you look around at the birds, and take a place under a big tree and sit down. And as you take your place there, just focus your breath on your chest, in your heart, and send a loving note to that young you who is sad, angry, or in pain, and is willing to talk to you today. Send a broadcast from your heart or note to that young you. Will either be able to see her or get an experience or a sense of her presence or his presence, or maybe you will hear them coming. And when they are there, just notice what is the first response your body gave. How did your body respond to their presence? Did your stomach churn? Did your heart skip a beat? Or was it tingling in your hands? How did your body communicated the comfort or discomfort of their presence? And just be aware what is that you're feeling in their presence. Look at those beautiful eyes, that tiny body that you were. Take a gentle step towards them. Slowly, don't rush. You may just scare them. And when you come close enough, maybe get down on your knees because they are small. Look at those eyes, beautiful hair, and see that. Feel what you feel, what it is like to look into their eyes for a moment. Look at them and say, I see you. I recognize my sadness, my grief, or my hurt, whatever it is that they bring with them in their eyes. I recognize that in you. I recognize my inability to be there for you. Please forgive me for asking you to remain quiet, to silently allow things, and not even asking you once how you want it. You can say this in words, or maybe just through your eyes. Keep speaking to them. And if it feels safe, hold their hands. Just be present to what's happening in your body when you're holding them. See that little one rest its head on your chest. Just like a loving mother. Gently rub your hand on their back. Say it's over. And I come here to take you with me. Just ask yourself, are you ready to take them with you? Only if you are ready, extend your hands. And if you are not, it is okay. Maybe you also need some time. And just let the child know, I will come back to take you. If the child is ready to come, extend your hand and see if it is taking your hand. And gently walk with him or her outside, coming to the edge of the forest, from the center. From that time of grief and pain, away from it. And even if they don't choose to, they are safe in this forest, knowing that you will come back for them when you are ready. As you come to the end of this forest, slowly and steadily see this child with you, walking out of the forest and walking back into your house, into the place that you are currently sitting. Let the child rest with you in that place. And for now, let the child be there. And as a task, you're going to connect to this child again and ask, what can I do that will bring you ease? Assuring them that tomorrow again you will meet them here and you will listen to them. Can you do that? And only if you can do that, assure them that you will come back to spend that time with them, to understand what happened to them. And only when you feel they are comfortable, for now they can rest. So maybe just let them rest on the bed. Bring up a pillow and a bed sheet, putting them to sleep. And just be aware, how are you feeling to have them with you here, resting. Be more present to what you are going through in witnessing this process. And then very gently, whenever you feel they are asleep, you can slowly open your eyes. Very gently open your eyes. Do not push yourself to open them. As you open your eyes, drink water. before you can speak. And if you want to make a note of this experience, you can put it down in a journal for you to come back to this activity. And after this, in few minutes, I can take up questions. But take a while to assimilate what happened. However trivial it may look like, it's something that's shifted today within you. Giving it due presence would be more important. In another 2 minutes, we will start the Q&A. Okay? Till then, everybody take a break, drink water, and I hope everybody is up. We are in a culture that has so many opportunities to hide. Behind screens, behind DPs, behind Facebook profile. I just looking at it. And deep down attempt to be seen, to be loved. I mean, so much contradictory, no? चाहिए कुछ और कह कुछ रहे हैं.
I just want to start with what Dishita has written. My inner child was bright and happy. It was the adult me that was feeling bad for not being at my best during my teens. Is that normal?
Yeah, because I was also with you people when I was doing the journey, and I recognize some of you are not ready to get them. So there will be a few more other than you, Dishita, and that was pretty courageous of you to even acknowledge that. It's pretty normal for us as adults to have inhibitions. So, most of the time, children are very playful, so they want to come and hug you. They forget and forgive, and there's no concept of forgiveness there. Our guilt, or probably somebody else told us or shamed us, is where we start labeling ourselves when we have that. So it's very normal to feel bad that you are not there for yourself, and it's a good thing that you are recognizing you are not present for yourself. That means somewhere we can start doing that. And that means emotionally being present when somebody humiliates us, when somebody is taunting us or shaming us, and we quietly look at it not knowing what to do, is that when we don't have our backs. It's like in childhood, हमारे parents, जब हमको कोई डांटता था, हमारे parents बोलते थे जाने दो बेटा, and we would feel, why is my parents not saying something to it? They just hurt me. But in the same breath, I also learned to adapt that nature of not speaking up for myself. Because in our culture, I was talking to Sharad right half an hour back, 1 hour back, assertiveness is seen as aggressive. So if I tell you that you have hurt me, so oh, how rude, yeah. I mean, you're so sensitive. So yeah, Shita, it's possible, but the good part is there's always scope to have your own back again. Never too late. Look
Can
at
I
that
add
map.
something more to that?
Yes, you can.
So my question was a little different, but thank you for answering that side to the
No.
question as well. My question was that when I saw my inner child, it was very happy, bright, but when I faced it, I felt as an more than the child part of me, teen part of me was sad. We all have phases, right? Like under 10,
So,
teen life, and my
so there were
20s.
two children here, Dishita. There was one you, and there was a
Correct.
teen you, and there was you currently.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. So the 1 to 10 year of me was quite happy, very bright. but the teen part of me was guilty of not being at my best. And is that normal that you see different phases of you during
Yes.
this meditation? Is my question. Yeah.
See, it's a very individual here. When I ask to see an unhappy part, they are correlated. So if I go in a deep therapy, if these two are show up, there is a history that they share together. That's where they come together. So one is resolved but it's connected. So even if I'm looking at the happy child, I will see where the happiness was there and it got, and there is a correlation here. Okay, so when the fragment happened, it didn't happen in one moment. It happened bit by bit. So it could be a phase here with you. From the happiness to being at and the question here again, when you say I was not happy with my behavior, how did you know that it was a bad behavior? Did you hurt somebody? Did you hurt? Or did somebody tell you that was an unacceptable behavior?
Not the behavior. Just as a person, I feel like I didn't live to my fullest potential in my teens, whereas
So
I
who's
was
regretting
thriving in
that?
my
You're
20s.
regretting that.
I am.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there is one happy child. There is a teenager who lived probably a suppressed part. I don't know the whole story here. So the regret is of the adult here. It's your regret.
Yes.
So you are
Absolutely.
it's like I am now critical about myself कि कुछ कर सकते थे लाइफ में. पहले माँ बाप करते थे, अभी हम करते. So there is a story there without getting it into deeper into at this platform. But you see that there is a regret as an adult of not making the most of the time you had, but there definitely will be a reason why you couldn't make the most. So when we have these fragments, they are incomplete. So when we do any kind of therapy, we are recognizing to not just understand it rationally, but emotionally what exactly happened, to then gather them and make sure that at least now, how can I fulfill all of it and not have a regret later. I hope I've
Thank you.
answered that.
Thank you. You have. You have.
I-
Thank you.
Okay. So,
Can I speak?
is that who?
Anju,
Anju?
I think.
Anju.
Yes, Anju, tell me.
So, I don't think I really went too much under. But when I would sort of visualize myself, I sort of visualized a picture, a photograph of myself as I would have been. And I just felt a kind of tightness in my stomach, a sort of churning in my stomach. And when I've come out of it, I've got this little tightness in my chest.
Did you go to the end of the meditation, because I saw you up halfway?
Yeah, I've got this
Yeah.
mattress on my
Ah,
head.
no. So your body already is in discomfort,
Yeah,
and
in and
you,
out.
something opened up. So you're a kinesthetic person. So we all take information differently. So though you are not visual like other people who saw it, you get a sense in your body. Your body tightened up. Some discomforting memory from your childhood has come up to your awareness. Maybe not like a literal story, but your body is telling you a story. When we probably, and right now you're also already in discomfort, so I wouldn't want to take that further. But there may be, you also know your story as a child. So where you have compromised or played it small, there are possibilities. And since it's a public platform, I don't want to get into personal details, because that will tell me what is your story, and dig more into that churning, we'll get a lot more there. Your body has already told you that there's something that's is not nice. And now it's all up to us how much we pay attention to it. And breathe. Now just close your eyes, Anju, and look at that stomach area. Keep your hand there. And tell that little Anju, we don't know how old she is. Just look at her in what language you speak at home. Gujarati, Hindi, Punjabi, Sindhi.
Hindi.
हिंदी. आप हिंदी में उससे बोलो. कि कोई बात नहीं है, कोई डरने की बात भी नहीं है. I found you and I will come back to you soon when I'll become okay with my hand. Just keep holding her as if you're holding that baby in the stomach. Say, I found you, I see you. And when my hand recovers, I will reach out to somebody who can help you. Does that ease the tightness in the stomach?
Yeah, certainly.
Just keep doing that, because we have. See, normally I don't do this because I personally want to close it to nicer, because it opens up things for us. They are not nice memories sometimes. So do it once again before you sleep and reassure her that you're not going to again push her in the darkness. She's taken a lot of courage to show up today. After so many years of all of whatever you've been through, you've succeeded to make so much through life. You're not going to push her. So tell her, I'm not going to push you back. This time I will sit with you. So tomorrow again you'll sit with her, like I said. Yes, Anju?
Thanks.
Some questions which were already sent to us, so we'll just take that and then we'll also take the ones. Thanks. But it was an amazing
Okay, surrounded by
experience.
accusations and gender affirmation.
So there is this one question that we received. We'll not reveal the name. I have been sexually abused as a child and I'm unsure about its effects on me. They are known to me. I'm okay otherwise. But when I meet these people, I'm uncomfortable. What is anxiety?
So she's meeting the abuser by any chance? When she said meet these people, is the person still in her environment? There are two possibilities, that she could be talking about somebody normally, regularly also of a gender, or if the abuser is still, it could be incest, it could be a family member. So the abuser is still there in her environment, and it will remind her of whatever happened. So there is trauma there, and I would definitely recommend her to go for a therapy wherever, whichever part of the city or country she is. There is help available, because this constant nudge of discomfort will only deprive her from living a fulfilled life, because somebody did not know their boundaries. We cannot let our lives be ruined. So yes, she needs therapy, because there's a trauma lodged in the body. It's known, so that anxiety is of the helplessness, because when we're children, somebody violates us, it's not our fault, we just don't know what happened, and that helplessness, that I couldn't protect myself, kind of remains also. So when I grow up also, that fear that will I be able to protect myself this time is the anxiety. I don't trust myself being able, because I was told it was my duty to protect myself, not recognizing I was too young to do that.
Okay.
So that anxiety is of that little child who's anticipating, I don't think we can protect ourselves again. So she's getting anxious every time she sees the abuser. What if he does it again?
Right. So there's another question that is here. I thought of one particular incident.
Sorry, your voice is.
Okay.
हाँ बोलो अभी है.
I thought that one particular incident would have traumatized me during my late teens. I tried to address that in this session, but my teen self didn't seem to be bothered really.
Okay, so what happened to the teen self? Or the person here, or it's a question that came up?
No, she's here. Rani, if you like to.
Are you comfortable express? You don't have to tell me the story, Rani, but you know what must have happened to the teen. It has lost trust in us. You know, our teen, when somebody doesn't come to our help as children, or even children as young as teenagers also, okay, they're children. So the teen, okay, my inner child was bright and happy to the touch of okay. It's not, the teenager story is important. Why doesn't she trust you? She needed help. Nobody helped. Did you reach out for help? Did you tell that this happened? What did you do to protect yourself? And what you didn't do is where that trust is lost with our own selves. Our ability to make efforts to protect ourselves. And that is also a part of when we say therapy is to rebuild self-love, rebuild self-care, rebuild to say that you can trust me. That means the younger me can trust me कि कल अगर आपसे कोई बदतमीजी करता है तो मैं उनको वहीं के वहीं रोकूंगी, ना कि बचपन की तरह बोलूंगी बच्चा अंकल है जाने दो, आंटी है रहने दो. This time I'll say you don't speak to me like this. Right? So that is where the trust is built. Even as a parent, tomorrow if you have a child who's been ill-treated by a family member, and ill-treating doesn't mean they have to be really violent or weak. They can be tickling them. They can be saying something. The child is irritated. They are violating. Please ask them to step back. Please give your child the freedom to say no, I don't like you touching me, I don't like the way you're speaking to me. Even if you're an adult, we need to earn the respect as an adult. We are not entitled to it. So if you have a child and your child feels bullied by an adult, it can't help itself. It needs you.
Absolutely. Very, very
That's
well.
what our parents did because we were bullied by adults. And
Right.
then we have authority issues. So we have to change the behavior, not just alone heal the trauma, but a new behavior has to be introduced. So in this case, you have to figure out why your own little one is disappointed with you. What did it expected out of you or its authority figures which they failed to do?
Absolutely. Okay. So the next question that is there is, it's about a case of divorce. In case of divorce, when the kids stay only with the mom and the father is way too far from them, what are the emotional damages that the 6 to 10-year-old kids go through? And how can the separated father garner the love in the kids, especially when he has only 4 days as visitation rights in a month? What
See,
actions should, sorry,
hmm.
what actions should the divorced parents take to ensure that the kids don't absorb hate, depression, or frustration?
Very delusionary parents. Honestly speaking, when a divorce happens, the damage is already happening. Period. Okay. Um, I cannot say this. There will never be ramifications of it. We can minimize the damage, but expecting it to be a fairy tale, no. Separate parents take the idea of cohabitating or like a family concept is firstly gone away for the child. And that doesn't mean in the same breath I'm saying one has to stay in an abusive relationship. Okay? But understand if the relationship were abusive, you had to leave or there was a good reason you left, it still doesn't mean that the damage will not happen. The child will still miss on the concept of a family. Right? Secondly, uh, 6 to 10 years is where the child needs more physical. There's a transition period. They're moving from physical thing to emotional and expression of identity. If the father has 4 days a week, a month with the child, I don't think there's nothing. You can just be there present. अगर 4 दिन आप बच्चे के साथ जा रहे हो तो 4 दिन बच्चे के साथ रहो. रहने का ये मतलब नहीं है कि I'm busy with my work and my child is in the same vicinity. रहना मतलब participate with them in games, participate in the conversation, show interest in the child's life. That is participation. Does any of you don't feel like if my parents would participate? Sometimes my parents also didn't know which standard I was in. And I felt, oh God. So when I'm saying love, in this age group, the actionables of being expressing love is participation. Do some activities together. It's not about eating and having bath. Let's say if it's a boy, play football. If it's a girl, do painting. It's not about just taking them to a gaming zone, keep them in the gaming zone, and then you're busy with your mobile. That's not participation. Am I getting? I'm understandable, yeah, Dipshika? Participation is being present to your child. If they have 4 days, make the most of it.
Right. So,
How does your child feel? Oh, my father, even if it was 4 days, he was there. He knew everything about me. He could see the sadness on my face. We all remember that parent who could see us, even if for the shortest time. The quality of time they spent mattered. And there are parents I have कि 24 घंटा मेरे पीछे लगी पड़ी रहती है. So that's not participation. We have those kind of helicopter parents. So parenting is about participating, being interested in the child, not being invested and controlling. Love's expressions are participation. Watch at the stars, or maybe nothing to do, but say today come here and let's say आज थोड़ा मस्ती कर लेते हैं, चल टीवी शो देख लेते हैं. Participate in what they want. That's why today's exercise also I give, go home and ask what the child wants. And then you will do that for the child. हमें ऑफिस जाना है, हमको भी काम है, तो तुम ये गेम के साथ खुश रह लो. पार्टिसिपेशन में तो बेटा आज क्या करें, पापा आज आइसक्रीम खाना है, चल चलते हैं, कौन सी वाली खाएंगे. The randomness, the spontaneity of having a father and mother is in these moments, not in the ability to be providing. Right? That is where emotional bonds happen. Yes.
So we go to the next question. Does inner child healing only work around trauma or any other emotional as well?
It is trauma. Say let's trauma वाला बड़ा word भी मैं निकाल देती हूँ. ठीक है ना. अब अगर आपकी बहन है, you have a sister who came after you. 3 years you were ladly, the apple of the eye, because papa, mummy was all about you, and then your sister comes. Obviously 3 years के बाद, she is technically छोटा है, she's younger than you, but you both are in the same age group. Your need for the mother is as same as the little one. However, now she is more tender, so सबका attention उसी के पास जा रहा है. आप भी खेलोगे तो आपको भी डांट पड़ेगी, संभालो, तुम तो बड़ी हो. That can also be trauma for the little one. I am not talking about us. We're talking about the little one who feels, अरे भाई आ गया तो ये सब मुझे भूल गए. So the feeling of being left out is also an inner child thing. It doesn't have to be big. It will be so small. I feel left out in my team meetings. I feel left out with my friends. I feel as if nobody wants me. Yet I'm a part of group, but I feel that. That is inner child work. Something is off. Everything seems to be normal here in the current event, but I still feel off or out of place about it at an emotional level. I know something from the past is being poking me, and that's inner child work.
Okay. The next one is how not to let childhood traumas again affect your present life.
Ha 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 ha. It's not possible. I'll be honest about it and candid. I don't want to give those aha lives ki life will be super cool. No, you learn to manage. These are tools. Okay, it's like when we don't know it, it unconsciously damages us. Okay, and we keep going in that loop. अब मुझे पता है, and I do the healing of various emotions. I recognize before it even happens. Like in spirituality, you have to the pause. वो pause can only happen when I've healed my past traumas. ना, but अगर मेरा bucket इतना भरा हुआ है कि drop भी will shuffle me out, then there is no place for pause. So I cannot say that we cannot have trauma, not the childhood impact us. Till date, there are some things which were not known to me come up. It doesn't shake up my life. It doesn't turn it upside down like it would do at 20. Yes? But yeah, there are small things which help me go more closer to my spiritual self. Today, this aspect is more from a spiritual development for me, because the major traumas I've been taking care. I'm going beyond my identity of social needs. But that's for me, who has firstly worked with the deeper identities as a woman, wife, girl, short, fat, acne, gone beyond all of it, being the first child, single, blah, 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 gone beyond that healing now to see at the much deeper level. So today, inner child still has an impact. First, it was about how my parents treated me directly. So it was about them. The second layer is what I have become because how they were. So when my father was angry, first I worked with the angry father. Then because he was angry, I learned how to deal with life. That made me a certain personality, which I really don't want now. So there's a second layer of change. And then there's a third layer. What on this earth did I choose this life? What was my purpose? But I can only go there when I've dealt with the basics. So there's no way to say it will all disappear in hunky-dory. But at every moment, I can fully live and breathe and become more. You can see that cage here, interesting, I just saw. Will be out of the cage to fly. That doesn't mean the butterfly feels good about it. It's still living an uncertain life. But we need to go back sometimes for reference. But it's far better than being in the cage. A reference is still okay. So,
That's
no.
amazing. That was an amazing reference that you just said.
I just saw it. Wow, that's nice.
Okay, so just for if you any of you have any questions, please type them out or ask to you can unmute. Let me just launch the poll for guys because there are people leaving. So if we can have you just
And
just
Sarbani is there. Somebody who's written a
no,
question.
I
She
think
left.
she is no, she's there. So I'm just launching the poll. Please answer those questions, and then we can just carry on with the last few questions if there are any. We have like 1 minute to quickly say.
So here, one thing of caution is inner child is not for self-work in the starter. If you're looking at traumas like abuse, rape, any traumatic event, please do not do them here, or do it on from YouTube or anything. Honestly speaking, do it under some guidance because you don't know what you're going to open to. You will not even know whether you have the resources. You will open up something feeling like in Rani says something happened and she tried to deal with it. But you're not resourceful to deal with it. So a therapist will probably give you some tools to deal with that. And maybe after a few sessions you can still do it. But beforehand, don't jump on it. It's like cutting yourself open and then you don't know what to do with it. It's not simple.
Right. And any of you just wanting to say before you guys leave, if any of you want to consult Namita Shetty, she is with us on the Paradigm Shift page. It is theparadigmshift.co. If you go to our mentors, we have them there. She has her dates and available timings written there. You can book consults with her, and then we can you guys can have a one-to-one session with Namita. Guys, if on to this, there are 5 of you that okay. Some more. Namita, did you enjoy this session?
Oh, I love inner child work. I can talk over coffee for love every day because it's an everyday thing. Every conversation is about every fight, every activity. When I look, I said, we are so unhappy people. So if I remove the word therapy, I would say everybody can do that. It's so beautiful to go within, look within, and give all the love you have to offer inside. And you imagine if you're full of love, what else will you give outside? Love only. It's easy. I think I find it very. It's not easy though to go within and revisit our painful stuff. Sometimes it's painful to see people crying and regrets. It's disheartening. But I see that after that also they want to start fresh. That is hope. That is life. But despite the sunset, there is going to be a sunrise. That is where we talk about courage. We have so many things in history, so many women. Despite there was this lady Kamla Bhasin who just passed away recently. I just happened to see her video. And what a woman she was. If anybody has heard her or read her, very, very strong, opinionated, very strong woman who built herself from a very traumatic event in her life. These should be our inspirations.
Okay.
So, any more questions? Or
Sarbani said she loved triggering. Thank you, Namita, for triggering so many thoughts. I had multiple distractions at home, but could not do justice. However, I will try and do that on my own. So please don't do that at home. At least in the beginning, you can book your session.
honestly speaking, why I'm telling you this, because like Anju said, there was a tightness in the body, or there is a traumatic event your mind is trying hard to protect you from. Understand, our body wants to protect us. When it wants to forget a memory, it is to protect, because a certain trauma instigates our ability to survive. Our biochemistry gets really screwed up. So don't
Yeah,
push it hard to open up if you really don't know how to care for it.
correct.
And it's an honest request. If you really care for yourself and there is a traumatic event, first sit with it and see, do I feel I am capable to handle my own thing that's coming up,
Right.
you know? And if you can, good. But if you can't, if your body says no, it's too much, I need help, then please trust me, I've
Yes.
seen enough damages done because of people opening up things and then feeling
Not
more
being able to.
scattered than before.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Deepshika ma'am. Paradigm shift for this beautiful journey. Thank you, Namita ma'am. You're extremely patient and have a soothing tone. It has helped me to access and understand my inner child in the meditative exercise. Thank you so much. And Roshni says, Anju says, thanks a lot. I need to go now. How do I reconnect? Anju, you have to, we will be sending you, we have your email and we have your phone number. We will be sending you the link to our mentor page on the Paradigm Shift page. You can connect with Namita Shetty. Richa says, amazing session. Thank you so much for the experience and insightful information. Roshni has a question: how to stop being hard to your own child, because we have some hard upbringing during our childhood. It's inadvertently comes now while upbringing my own child.
That's exactly why I said no. Firstly, when you said how do I stop being hard, the first thing is, why do I need to be hard? When I bought this child out of love, why do I need to be hard? Where do I feel the child is? So these are the hard-hitting questions you ask as yourself as an individual. So, well, you have been brought up the hard way. I have been brought up the hard way, or the
Right.
best way my parents knew, to put it nicely. I've turned out well, though there are scars of how it happened.
Yeah.
Right? That doesn't mean that the upbringing was incorrect. My child is fairly different in a different world. My child is, I also have a 12-year-old, so she's born in a different time, in a different world. That world is different. And she is a different woman. When I match my child's need, so as I told you, there are milestones. I have a class where I deal with the 3 days of childhood development and growth, where you see the psychosocial and the emotional development of the child, where you also recognize how as a parent you need to be prepared. All our job is to be prepared. हम कुछ नहीं उखाड़ सकते. But my daughter at this age, at 3 of age, she needed a different mother. Then she needs a different mother. So parenting is about me growing as a mother and a father at every stage, fulfilling the needs of my child. It's not the other way around. They have certain emotional and psychological needs which are a natural part of a natural evolution. We pushing them and beating up to meet social needs is where people like us as therapists get jobs, and I really don't like that. So I am very stickler about it when it comes to parenting. Is if you can be that age appropriate parent, as like let's say how many mothers, how many people have their mothers still harrowing them, अकेले क्यों जाए, लड़की हो, पति के साथ रहो, it is bad also, be okay with it. How many men have struggled कि यार क्या कर रहे हो, घर संभालो, बच्चों को देखो, ये क्या खेल कूद कर रहे हो, है ना. अभी भी आज parents have never seen us grow capably and they want to fit us into the ideal child, ideal wife, ideal whatever, right? And not meeting us physical, emotional, psychological needs as an environment. So when you know that what they need, you can give them that. That will be more of a gift to your child when it has a mother who's present and participating in their evolution, which is a natural phase and growth. Whether you like it or not, they're going to grow up, they're going to have a sex life, they're going to have be individuals, they're going to have breakups, everything will happen just the way it happened to you. Nothing is going to be smooth. But if they're brought up with a lot of love to deal with these upheavals, you know they're going to sail better because they're good sailors and they know how to handle storms. Our jobs are not to protect them from storms, but prepare how to sail better even in storms. That's the best gift we can give as parents to our children. उससे ज़्यादा we are not going to be there with them forever. Trust me. Right?
That is so well put. Very well put. So yeah, Roshni says yes. Okay, so I think guys, it's pretty late, and all of us had a very long day. I'm sure Namita's had a whole lot of consults all throughout the day, and all of you must have been back from work and everything. So I think should we just call it a day? And so, like I've said, I put down the paradigmshift.co. That is our website. We will be sending you links on your email and on your phone number. Please save the phone number that you got the links from so that we can, send you a broadcast. Otherwise, we'll have to do it individually. So please save that number. Might also, we will talk to Namita, and we might also consider making a WhatsApp group, but we will just discuss everything. Manoj says thank you, Namita. All right, so good night, everybody, and thank you so much.
Good night, everybody. Happy Navratri. It's a good start.
Absolutely.
For all of us.
Absolutely. Happy Navratri, everyone.
Everybody, and a good night.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Take care.